Okay, the show is on the road. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm Thundercloud. Mum calls me James, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. Let's have some fun and linguistic games. Hey. Well, what have I been up to? Well, tonight we've got here's Saul, Gabriel, Skye, and a new viewer in the audience, Ned. Yeah, hey, welcome, Ned. And unfortunately, Ashley is crook again, so we won't be in. And Gladys is staying at home in the warmth tonight as well. But we've got 5 of us here. Now, last night, Skye and I went down to Armidale to the Grand Hotel and had a sit-in with the Armidale poets. Yeah, of all things, which was all pretty interesting. A wonderful Valerie Chubb. I got a big shout out to Val and her wonderful poetry that she did last night. So yeah, it was really good, wasn't it, Skye? Yes. It was. All right, let's begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we broadcast, the Kamilaroi Band by people, to acknowledge continuing connection to the land of the elders past and present, and acknowledge sovereignty has never been ceded. Okay, tonight, what have I got with, hey, Grace Perry, what's she doing? She's falling down. Tonight I'm going to start off with poems by Judith Wright called The Other Half. This was written in 1969, or published in 1969 by Angus and Robertson, 1966 by Angus and Robertson in Sydney. The first one is the title of the book called The Other Half. The self that night undrowns when I'm asleep travels beneath the dumb days that I give, within the limits set that I may live, and beats in anger on the things I love. I am the cross it bears and the tears I weep. Under the eyes of light my work is brief. Day sets on me the burdens that I carry. I face the light, the dark of me I bury. My silent answer and my other half, we meet at midnight and by music only. Yet there's a word that I would give to you, the truth you tell in your dumb images. My daylight self goes stumbling after 2. So we may meet at last, and meeting bless and turn into one truth in singleness. The Other Half by Judith Wright. All right, the other one, next one I got for you from her is called Metamorphosis. The old man sat there, and the running child paused to look up beyond him at the tree. Its trunk gnarled, grey with time, the branching wood crawled through with sap, the upward weave of blood that frayed against the sky in luminous bud. The tree was an ancient hand that crooked and curled to touch the child's silk hair. The hand was a tree, a branching bone membraned with trembling sense. The new red leaves unfolded their innocence towards the light and its never-ending dance. Released from the dawn of leaves, from the fiery nest, a bird went up from the tree on delighted wings. How eagerly after its phoenix the poem springs, how soon on the threshold of light its words are lost. Judith Wright. And this one's called For Jack Blight. I get it. I'm not sure I agree with all of it, but yeah, for Jack Blight. Poets are always writing about the sea. That's the bit I don't agree with. We're not always writing about the sea.
I've written about the sea.
I have done it, yes, true. We're not always doing it, no, not when I'm in the talk. No. Okay, let's begin again. For Jack Blight. Poets are always writing about the sea. Poets are people who want the sea to be real. Vanities, smuts and despairs are found in the city. The country is notorious for stupidity. Inland and littoral are glutted with grey humanity. So poets require the sea. Make the sea real. For only if it is real can the journey be real. Otherwise neither ship nor passengers have any meaning. Not even the lovers watching wake and bow wave, rainbows are relative, their faces would be negated by the watching faces of those who are not in love. But the lonely poets lean over the rail, get drunk on wine, dark draughts, create themselves mermaids of foam who desire to be loved by a poet and find immortality. Poets observe how the sea's eternity makes the ship important, real because temporal. Temporality, skipper, makes here and now point, neither here nor now, on a chart of a pointless sea that flows everywhere, always, where whatever the passengers say, who prefer the ship to the ocean, the point to the chart. Poets will always be writing about the sea. I don't know, I write about Skye a lot. And thunderclouds.
Hey, well, what would a pirate's favourite letter be?
Let me see.
A pirate would be in love with the sea.
It's not R, is it?
No, it's the sea. And you know, if poets didn't write about the sea, they wouldn't have words like account and things like that.
Probably. Yeah. Oh, this one's called Water. Water in braids and tumbles shells of spray, heaves of clear glass and solemn green-eyed pools. Eel coils and quick meanders goes its way, fretting this savage basalt with its tools. Where from the rock hot edge I drop my hands and see their bones spread out like tugging weed, each finger double-winged with ampersands that stand above the current's talking speed. Such sentences, such cadences of speech, the tongue water stutters in its race, as may have set us talking each to each, before our language found its proper pace. Since we are channeled by its running stream, a skin of water glitters on your eye, and round your skull a halo of faint steam breathes up to join the spindrift in the sky. Judith Wright this is, and
you sort of get lost a bit on what she's actually talking about and just waft into that.
It is, it's just very much, like a bit sort of like flowy, like water in a way.
It is, yeah, that's cool.
This one's called Turning 50. I think she lived, she passed in 1990, was it 7 or something? So, yeah, she lived at 92, Judith Wright. She got to a ripe old age. Mind you, all of the obituary notices for the last 3 weeks in Gyra have been people who've died in their 90s. Yeah. Every week, two. It's like, oh well, I suppose that. You live long enough.
90s are the new 70s, aren't they?
Well, pretty much, yeah. They're going to have to change that verse, aren't they? 4 years and 10 plus a couple. Yeah. Turning 50. This one's Well, you're not yet. Having known war and peace, and loss and finding, I drink my coffee and wait for the sun to rise. With kitchen swept, cat fed, the day still quiet, I taste my 50 years here in the cup. Outside, the green birds come for bread and water. Their wings wait for the sun to show their colours. I'll show my colours too, though we've polluted even this air I breathe and spoiled green earth. Though granted life or death, death's what we're choosing, and though these years we live, scar, flesh and mind, still as the sun comes up, bearing my birthday, having met time and love, I raise my cup, dark, bitter, neutral, clean, sober as the morning, to all I've seen and known, to this new sun.
So if that was when she was turning 50,
Yeah.
that would have been 1955. Is that right?
I don't know.
Well, she was 92 and she died in 97.
97. Yeah.
That would, sum-wise, that would say 1955. So,
Yeah.
and pollution was an issue then.
Yeah.
And
This was published in 66. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do one of my own first for you, and then who will I invite up first? Not Skye. No, it looks like Gabriel. You've been.
I can do
Yeah. You've been chosen. Chosen one. Yeah. All right. Where am I? I'm looking for the poetry that I've got ready for you for tonight. Here we are. All right. Oh, what? It's not here. 26th of July. I keep on coming. Oh, okay. Looks like I've lost my poetry. How weird. All right. I got one here for you really quickly. Let me just scroll to it. All right. This one was written on Monday morning on the bus going to Armidale. Finished at the train station because I had to get off the bus. Yeah. And this is about beauty as the bush goes past. In the bus I'm travelling fast. Glimpses of the winter bush in the highlands on we push. Grass, frost, Britain, brown, dry. Blue patches, clouds and sky, together as all is heaven sent. Joy, appreciation, reverent. Twisted eucalyptus gums, golden acacia blooms begun. Warming in the winter sun, feels like winter's almost done. However, never underestimate winter winds. Will return to berate from this mid-winter warm reprieve to freeze with frost, ice and sea. Cracking puddles, frozen hard, frost and snow across the yard. And it's coming this weekend according to the weather report. Yeah, welcome back to Gyra's Guy. Yeah. Okay, and Gabriel, come on up. Welcome back from Colombia. Okay, here he is. He's smuggled a bit of Pablo Escobar with him. Cocoa, yeah.
Well, I haven't got my head around South America yet, so that'll be later in the year. I'm still processing Borneo, as I shall say in a minute. But before that one, I've written things occasionally about memory and how memory isn't, for me at least, so much about what happened, good or bad, usually bad, but for some reason, it's more about the music that happened to be around or that I was listening to at the time. And so my memory bank is about 70% musical and about 30% events. And so this one is a reflection of that fact. And I've done it to the rhythm of the old 1958 hit, The Story of My Life. But I'm not going to sing it. Naffy. So, I'm never going to write the story of my life. Most of it was not that bad, quiet enough for simply sad, mixed memory. My vivid memories are not what my joys and dreads, songs are what left a deeper mark. Much more imbued with divine spark than real but too bleak life. When I was 16, I nearly went to jail. Shoplifting was such a thrill. Being caught was shameful, still. But I recall Pat Boo, in brackets Speedy Gonzales, was playing when I got arrested. And I can't listen to it now without squirming. In 1967, in Love as If in Heaven, we broke up and I went mad, dwelling on the dreams we had, but it felt good to paint it black. When I was 58, I lost my high-paid job. It felt like a stab inside, but I played King's Love and Pride, and I could face the world. Yes, every time I hit another hard brick wall, some song lifts me up above real life's pitiless, tough love, and it makes me smile. Makes me smile. Steve Harley caught me with all lines. Okay, now the rest. I'm not a relatively emotional person relative to the average. I only cry at music. And so always on my bucket list was going to Borneo and experiencing jungle, because when I lived briefly, 3 years, in Singapore, I used to go to the Botanical Gardens, got a little jungle bit, and that really lifted me out of myself. The Borneo jungle is like that, multiplied a hell of a lot of times. So I wanted to capture the variety of trees and life, and the sense of life without barriers, and a combined sense of the glories of nature and possibly the glories of God, depending on things that we can't answer. But in some ways it not making any difference, which it was, because the feeling was so strong. So I want to compose a poetic equivalent of a symphony to get that across. But you can't go straight into writing something like that, it's too ambitious. So Gerard Manley Hopkins is the classical poet who comes closest to using words the kind of way that paint pictures in the kind of way I want to do with this. But first, before I read his stuff, I'll read out what I've done by way of notes for each verse, so that you get some idea of what I'm going to try to do with this, and then when I come back and have attempted to do it in X weeks or months' time, I won't have to do all this blurb to bore everybody again. So this will be called Sabbath's Symphony. I want to share my eyes with you, but have to use mere words. Great joy, great peace, excitement too, trees, animals and birds. Borneo has virgin jungle still. Borneo, never have my fill. Then the next verse I want to talk about leaves, every shade of green, every shape, every texture, every size. And then the one coming after that, the cornucopia of trees, stretching as if to infinity, no tree identical to its neighbour, interwoven branches, intertwining roots, but room enough for all. And then, about abundance, enough air, enough sun, enough water, enough sources of life. And then the animals, colourful snakes, not poisonous, pygmy elephants running sedately and roaring like their bigger cousins, hornbills flying over the river like tessellated black kites, close-knit monkey families for whom all trees are home. And then I've nearly actually composed the last verse as follows. We look out from a motorboat, entranced by the beauty of infinite variety. With all the wonders, tell me, please, were we wrong to leave the trees? So that's the build. That's like the scaffolding. And here are three things from Gerald Manley Hopkins that in the direction that I want to go with that. Pied beauty, this is a famous one. Glory be to God for dappled things, for skies of couple colour as a brinded cow, for rose moles all in stipple upon trout that swim, fresh fire cold chestnut falls, finches' wings, landscape plotted and pieced, fold, fallow and plough, and all trades their gear and tackle and trim. All things counter, original, spare, strange. Whatever is fickle, freckled, who knows how. With swift, slow, sweet, sour, a dazzle, dim. He, fathers forth, whose beauty is past change. Praise him. Get that sort of words like a paintbrush. Second one of three. This has got a great long title. That nature is a Heraclitean fire and of the comfort of the resurrection. He was a priest and he would mix nature and God a lot. Cloud puffball, torn tufts, tossed pillows, flaunt forth, then chevy on an air-built thoroughfare. Heaven roisterers in gay gangs, gay meant something different then obviously, they throng, they glitter in marches. Down rough cast, down dazzling whitewash, wherever an elm arches. Shivlights and shadow tackle, in long lashes laced lance and pear. Delightfully the bright wind boisterous, ropes, wrestles, beats eat earth bare. Of yester tempests creases, in pool and rut peel patches, squandering ooze to squeeze, dough, crust, dust, starches, squadron masks and man marks, tread mire toil there. Foot fretted in it, million fueled, nature's bonfire burns on, but quench her bonniest dearest to her clearest cells spark. Man, how fast his fire dint, his mark on mind is gone. Both are in an unfathomable, all is in an enormous dark, drowned. Oh, pity and indignation, man-shape that shone, sheer off, disseveral, a star, death blots out, blacks out, nor mark. Is any of him at all so stark? But vastness blurs and time beats level, enough the resurrection. A heart's clarion, away grief's gaping, joyless days, dejection, across my foundering deck shone a beacon, an eternal beam, flesh fade and mortal trash, fall to the residuary worm. World's wildfire, leaf but ash, in a flash, at a trumpet crash. I am all at once what Christ is, since he was what I am, and this Jack, joke, poor potsherd, patch, matchwood, immortal diamond is immortal diamond. So he makes words up, but you can tell what the sort of thing he means by the words he makes up. That's quite a high bar to try and jump. And the last one. This is more openly religious, and it's called God's Grandeur, but it's fairly successful in conveying a sense of awe. Here we go. The world is charged with the grandeur of God. It will flame out like shining from shook foil. It gathers to a greatness like the ooze of oil, crushed. Why do men then now not wreck his rod? Generations have trod. And all is seared with trade, bleared, smeared with toil. And wears man smudge and shares man's smell. The soil is bare now, nor can foot feel being shod. And for all this, nature is never spent. There lives the dearest freshness deep down things. And though the last lights off the black west went, o morning, at the brown brink eastward springs, because the Holy Ghost over the bent world broods with warm breast and with wings. That's it. I don't want to copy, but I want to go in that direction. Cheers then.
Yay. These are some ideas I wrote down about freedom of speech and why it's important in a society. And because it allows for the free exchange of ideas, which is essential to a healthy democracy. When people are free to express their opinions, even if those opinions are unpopular or offensive, it helps to ensure that all voices are heard and that the best ideas can rise to the top. Some of the benefits of freedom of speech: it allows for this free exchange of ideas, so that when people are free to express their opinions, it allows for a more engaged and informed citizenry, because people are able to hear different perspectives and learn from each other. It helps to hold the powerful to account. Freedom of speech allows people to criticise the government and other powerful institutions. This is essential for ensuring that these institutions are accountable to the people. Next, it promotes creativity and innovation. Freedom of speech allows people to express themselves creatively, which can lead to new ideas and new ways of thinking. This is essential for innovation and progress. Of course, freedom of speech is not without limits. For example, speech that is likely to incite violence or that is defamatory is not protected by freedom of speech. However, these limits are generally narrow and are intended to protect the rights of others. In conclusion, it's an important right that's essential for a healthy democracy. And while it may sometimes offend people, it's ultimately more important to protect the right to free speeches so that all voices can be heard. That's just a few thoughts that I wrote down recently on free speech. There's a few other notes here I've got too. Some additional thoughts on the importance of freedom of speech, even if it offends someone. Offensive speech can be a catalyst for change. When people are offended by speech, it can lead them to questioning their own beliefs and assumptions. And this can be a positive thing, as it can lead to people becoming more open-minded and tolerant. Next, offensive speech can help to expose prejudice. When people say things that are offensive, it can help to highlight the prejudices that exist in society, which is a valuable tool for raising awareness of these issues and working to challenge them. Offensive speech can be protected by the law. You ought to see Denmark. In many countries, freedom of speech is protected by law. This means that even if speech is offensive, it cannot be punished or censored by the government. This is an important safeguard against the suppression of dissent. Ultimately, the decision whether or not to be offended by speech is a personal one. However, it's important to remember that freedom of speech is a fundamental right and that people should be protected, even if it sometimes... it's a fundamental right that should be protected even if it sometimes offends people. So they were just some thoughts that I put down. Being being a poet, and I know that some people have in the past been upset at some of the things that I've written, and that's never intentional, by the way, or yeah, probably is actually, because there's some people that actually wrote a lot of shit about because they deserve to be dissed and put down and called out on their bullshit. Yeah, why not? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and that's exactly what freedom of speech is. Yeah, calling out bullshit. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of other things, but that's one of them.
That's one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, would you like to come up, Saul? Or
Oh yeah, I've just sorted something out.
oh right, wonderful.
Real.
And then Skye.
That's Skye's glasses. Sort of moves a little bit occasionally.
Oh, wonderful. Cool, man. All right.
Oh, sorry. I driving up had the glorious pleasure of looking at the moon doing its thing. It was pretty cool. Nice and big and beautiful. So I thought I'd do a moon poem.
Cool.
This one's one I wrote not too long ago, and it's a little bit sort of, it's basically what the moon and the ocean do, put into a love poem, that sort of, and yeah, they make up their own metaphor in a way. Here we go. Resist the urge, think I can maintain a sense of equilibrium, as maybe a sea locked in by the rigid land around, and no swelling of the tide be found beneath the attraction of the moon. But broad and deep it seems I am, not unlike the ocean, bound to earth, no escaping. But the moon, whether blind or blazing, unseen or full or profile gazing, has my attraction unfathomed, drawn from deep below, smiling surface that greets the shore of all who come and play and work and while away, betrays me by my rise and fall each day. As my want of wants reaches for the unreachable, and my heart is held firmly in your grasp so simply, I am but the ocean, you the beautiful moon. In silence we dance in sympathy.
Yay! I like that. That's oh wow, and that's it. Wow. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Really. Yeah, I was like in dreamland with my eyes closed listening. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay. There's a little thing I wrote the other week, and I don't know if I really think this is fully true. It's not full of them, but like there was a little quatrain kind of thing, left, right, up, down. They're all just different perspectives of the same mad clown. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, left, right, up, and down, just different perspectives. Yeah, looking at the Parliament, what do I see? A bunch of mad clowns fighting freely. I look at the left, then I look at the right, but everywhere I look, I see the mad clowns fight. I went down a hole and I looked up at a clown, climbed up, and I saw a clown when I looked down. I see clowns all day and clowns all night, clowns as bureaucrats in a clown power fight. Mad clowns everywhere screaming freely about how to stop us all saying what we see. The government is full of mad, selfish clowns, including federal, state and even local towns. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get around. Yeah, get down with the clowns.
Yeah, there's only one letter difference between a crown and a clown.
Yeah, isn't there? That's wonderful, yeah. All right, Skye, your turn. Come on up. Welcome back, Skye Campen, back to Gora. Yeah, she's been away, but she's all the way back from the gun capital of Australia, Gympie.
Okay. Well, I don't don't have anything really.
No,
I'm just here.
you do.
I've got something, but it's kind of like something that I was working on a while ago. I haven't reassessed. But anyway, yeah, I'll do perception of love. Now here's a question for you, a different kind of perception. Yeah, anyway, a different kind of view. I feel, if feeling pleasure is feeling loved, and giving pleasure is giving love, although not accepted as society condemns it, even though the older member of humankind is not violent to the child, why is that not embraced when there's love upon their face? As a farmer lubricates a pig or cow or even sheep with fist up its anus, a probe up her vagina, artificially inseminated with a squirt or maybe two, would that not be pleasure for the farmers showing her love? And a farmer tossing off a pig or bull or maybe ram with vibrator up his ass, surely that brings pleasure too. And so it must be love, as a farmer shows to them. Shouldn't they be grateful to get a bit of loving too? So why is it called molesting or sexual abuse, when really there's no violence and just giving of pleasure of the one that's given, used?
Well done, Skye. I love it. You're always pushing the boundaries as usual. Loving it. All right. Yeah. Oh, look, this one.
Farmers should be called the lovers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not molesting.
This is a little something I wrote. This is called, this could apply to most poets anyway. Self-reflection of a disagreeable personality type, and I don't care that this poem title is long. So it's like, yeah, it's like that. Yeah. Disobedient and disagreeable, but self-aware of my behaviour. I don't mean to be abrasive. I no claim to be a saviour, an independent thinker, and I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I will defy the status quo, create, innovate, ideas defined. Not discouraged by setback and groupthink wit. Occasionally caustic with burning words that slam and hit. I can motivate and inspire change. It is elemental. I'll step up, take charge, make decisions with leadership potential. That's after my research. I'm like, what are actually some of the strengths of being disagreeable? Yeah, well.
Sounds like he's contemplating this a lot lately.
Oh, look, always, mate. Yeah, because I've done Jordan Peterson's personality test, and I come up as like in the high percentile of disagreeableness end. Yeah, I do. Okay. And I'm not afraid. Yeah, but 37 percentile. So that's I am 37% agreeable.
That's a third.
Not totally.
It's actually more than a third.
Yeah. Well, a third of the time I'll agree with you. Yeah, I'm agreeing now. All right. We've got a new fella here, Ned. Well, come on up, Ned. And Ned's got to do something for us. He's decided to. Nice to meet you, Ned.
Hey.
Ned's from Gyra now.
Yeah.
He's a lot taller than Skye, that's for sure.
So I'm going to start with a poem from where I'm from. So I'm from Watauga, and our emblem for that community is a butterfly. So it's a poem about butterflies. Life is short and sweet, like the nectar I sip with my swirly proboscis. From the flowers I see in ultraviolet light, floating in ecstasy on shimmering wings, I fly free with the wind. I am a butterfly. I don't know who wrote that. It's on a totem pole in the community area of Talaba. No idea.
What butterfly is that?
It's the wanderer with the
What colour is it?
the orangey brown one.
Oh, yeah.
And in that spirit, I'm also going to read one which is about a particular place in Talaba where I built a house recently. Keep the faith, describe a face with freckles, moles and warts. Inscribe with haste the perfect place for finding smoky quartz. In a cozy corner, clay and ash, as a pad it has a stash. There a bunker funk killed the cacti monk with a toaster full of cash. A bullet skull could protect the mull, passion flower blooming wild. Now remind me how a twice past sour left that land that God defiled. Play some songs with spade and thongs, get lost and out of sorts, while I describe with haste the perfect space for finding smoky quartz.
Nice.
I think that's it for tonight.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Oh, it's always great to highlight and welcome a new poet. Like that's the whole idea of this space, is to give people a nice safe place where you can grow and develop as a poet or whatever. Here's one.
I'll do another one if you press for time anytime.
Oh, I'm not pressed for time, but I'd like to hear you do another one.
Okay.
Yeah. This one is called Thanks, written 3 days ago, I think. Thanks for the air, sunlight my hair, waking each morning to live. Bed, table, chair, challenges to bear. Thanks for the lessons life gives. Thanks for the sky, birdies that fly. The hot days, the cold and the rain. Yummy apple pie. One day we'll all die. Thanks for the lessons from pain. Thanks for the sun, also making life fun. Dancing, singing, art, also play. Mum, dads, sisters, sons, actually everyone. Thanks for the life that I love every day. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that was one of those sort of morning ones. You sit out there and actually that was a meditation one when
Very agreeable.
Definitely an agreeable poem. Yeah. That Jordan Peterson. I don't know. I can't diss him. I love him. Yeah. All right. Yeah, he told me to clean my room, and my room's been clean ever since. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, come on up.
This is one I was inspired with, the freedom of speech thing, may as well be a bit disagreeable.
Yeah.
But, I'm sort of disagreeable in a sneaky positive way. Okay.
Yeah.
This is not a love poem.
Ah, yes.
This is not a love poem. It's not about the springtime sunshine on my shoulders. This is not a love poem. It's not about that blue-eyed girl. This is not a love poem. It's not about swimming at the beach high summer. This is not a love poem. It's not about that blue-eyed girl. This is not a love song as we know it. It's actually a call to arms. It seems like we choose to fuck it all up, de-evolution day by day. With our early greed, destruction will proceed as we steal the future from our future seed. And that is why there is no place for a love poem, I say. This is not a love poem. It's not about tumbling in those autumn leaves. This is not a love poem. It's not about that blue-eyed girl. This is not a love poem. It's not a winter kiss by an open fire. This is not a love poem. It's not about that blue-eyed girl. We gotta give our love to our blue world, like I give my love to that blue-eyed girl. We gotta give all our love to our blue world so that we can love that blue-eyed girl.
Well done. I like that. Thank you. I've got two more I'm going to do, and I know because none of you were here last week, and so these are ones that I did last week. This one's called Wind Scattered Dance, and it was I was inspired by a painting that I did first, which is out there, and I don't have it to show you tonight, unfortunately, because it's out there. Behold the wild wind and force it yields across mountains, deserts, its ballet revealed, lifting dust from crusty ground, gusts of swirling ascent unbound. With gentle breeze or whirling gale, scattering dust over forest and dale, as Rumi's mystic Sufi in trance, wefting, weaving a story through nature's expanse. Dancing eddies whisper in the breeze, a classical ballet it impeases. Leaves and dust take artful flight, animated canvas of delight. Carried far away beyond our sight to far-flung journeys, dust takes flight. With just one gust, dust will embark, leaving in its wake a mark. Hazy days, a subtle shroud, in the dry, dusty mist endowed, wind is life's breath, pure and cruel. Fans the flames, is fire's fuel. Farmers toil, winds tests their will. Fields of crops embraced, winds thrill. Plains, wind swept of green and gold, will rise and thrive, resilient and bold. A paradox blows, reveals the course and the heart of this ever-flowing force. With artistic flair, a kiss, a touch, shaping the world it loves so much. Crescent hills of sand and dune, landscapes evolve with the monsoon. Wind the sculptor, love's touch applied, gems of nature with beauty implied. The seeds dispersed when the winds roar, penetrate the soul to explore. United, all of us are akin to and next of kin to dust scattered by wind. Never fear wind's captivating dance, trance-like, it is not happenstance. As in wind's dance a million souls move, as its design it seeks to prove, as the wind scatters the souls of you, born again as a spirit new, and far-flung lands your essence sent on gusts of winds with love's ascent. Floating upon wind's enchanting grace, its flow and rhythmic warm embrace, through whirling dance you'll find your art. So let the blowing wind restore your heart. Thank you. Yeah. I was a bit inspired by Rumi with trying to make, because the painting I did was very much a sort of a dancing in the wind thing, and I wanted to make it Rumi-ish. So yeah.
You told us that in the beginning. That's good.
I did tell you that, did I? Okay.
No, in the poem.
It's in the poem. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. That's true. It is in the poem. Yeah. And then I'm not going to do the set of haiku on love, but like, Yeah, this is a little funny kind of, well, it's kind of a little happy one. Burdened was the donkey. As he left the city with a pack on his back for a life left shitty, he turned to his friends and the last thing he said was, I'm searching for a better day, city life is dead. He walked 40 days till he came to a mountain, maybe 43, as he wasn't really counting. Sat down by a creek in a valley full of grass and sang a song that started, I'm a lucky ass. I'm a lucky ass, there's so much grass. I lived in the city, but those days passed. The creek's flowing fast, there's water in my glass. There's lush green grass and I'm a lucky ass. Well, the donkey unhitched his burdensome pack. It's here that I mentioned that his name was Jack. Jack took out his tools and built a fence, reasoning that it was for wolf defence. Next he built a shed to sleep in at night, installed hot running water and electric light. In a valley far away lived a donkey with class. He frolicked in the grass and his name was Jack Ass. I'm a lucky ass, there's so much grass. I lived in the city, but those days passed. The creek is flowing fast, there's water in my glass. A lucky ass with grass, and I'm named Jack Ass. Thank you very much. But like the really hard one in here, what was it? There's a really
That
tricky.
needs to be done to bluegrass banjo.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. What was this? There was a really tricky. Maybe it was the other poem. There was a really hard, like 4 words that all go together really hard. But it was really, it's just like a tongue twister in here. Well, I couldn't find it. Took out his tools. No, anyway, it doesn't really matter. I was reading it, I'm thinking, that's really hard to say. I can't even find it now.
You obviously made it so we didn't know
With
this.
the grass with glass? No.
Oh, well, he frolicked in the grass and his name. Oh, there's
heaps of it.
there's lush green grass and I'm a lucky ass. He unhitched his burdensome pack. I mentioned his name was Jack. He took out his tools and built a fence. No, I don't know where it is. Sat down, I don't know. There's creek is growing fast, there's water in my glass, there's lush green grass on my lucky ass. Yeah, was that one? I think.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, thanks for joining us here. Anyway, we'll finish the show on that. Don't forget, in just 2 weeks, we've got the Australian Poetry Slam heat here in Guyra. On the Tuesday night, there's the word shop, run by a slam poet from the Word Travels group. And then on the Wednesday night is the actual slam poetry night. So 2 minutes, poets have got to do their stuff. Yeah. And the judges come from the audience members. So bring yourself here to a Wednesday night 2 weeks from now at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. And the other thing that is really cool is the Australian Bush Poetry Film Festival is open for submissions right now until the 11th of October. Okay. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, up to 2 minutes, yeah.
That's, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
2 minutes. What am I going to write?
For the Bush Poetry Championship, you got up to 8 minutes for the Bush Poetry performance.
Yeah, that's sort of easier, that.
There's storytellers, yeah.
All
right. Well, give it a thumbs up and like and whatever else, and we'll see you next week.
We're going to get Cat Trousers at the Welder's Dog tomorrow night.
Do you hear that? Cat Trousers at the Welder's Dog in Armidale tomorrow night. Yes, Saul's band. Cat Trousers, do they even wear those?